Andreas VESALIUS, 1514-1564. With title, Andreas VESALIUS, Human Anatomy. Learning outcome. Understand how important the understanding of human anatomy is to medical development. Learning objectives. Describe the development of human dissection from Galen to VESALIUS. Explain how VESALIUS was allowed to dissect human cadavers. Excellent progress. Analyse the impact of VESALIUS on the fabric of the human body, 1543, on the development of understanding human anatomy. Galen, 129 AD, 216 AD. Galen dissected animals, not humans. Human dissection was banned. Galen made mistakes due to this issue. Galen claimed the human mandible, lower jaw, was made of two separate bones, just like the Barbary macaw monkey. The human lower jaw is a single bone, the mandible. The Catholic Church did not have a blanket, long-standing ban on human dissection that was suddenly lifted, despite popular myths. While some early medieval prohibitions existed regarding the mutilation of bodies, human dissection for educational purposes was revived in church-sponsored universities as early as the 14th century, around 1300 to 1315, in Bologna, Italy. Key historical developments include, in 1300, Pope Boniface VIII issued the bull De Sepulturis, which was often misunderstood as a ban on dissection. It actually forbid the Crusader-era practice of boiling and dismembering corpses to return bones for burial. 1537, the practice of human dissection became formally and commonly accepted following authorization by Pope Clement VII with papal support for anatomical studies. Mondino de Luisi, 1270-1326, an Italian physician, anatomist, and professor of surgery who lived and worked in Bologna. He is often credited as the restorer of anatomy because he made seminal contributions to the field by introducing the practice of public dissection of human cadavers and writing the first modern anatomical text. Anatomy of the Human Body, 1316, was the first modern systematic dissection manual, dominating European medical education for over 2 centuries. It was based on direct human dissection in Bologna rather than just ancient texts. Mondino was the first to incorporate a systematic study of anatomy and dissection into a medical curriculum. The dissection of human cadavers was a hallmark of the Bologna school. Mondino performed the first public dissection in Bologna in 1315 in the presence of medical students and other spectators. It was common practice for the professor of anatomy to sit in a large, ornate chair elevated above the dissection proceedings, reading from anatomical text, and providing commentary while the demonstrator or surgeon physically performed the dissection. Why would illustrations such as these be considered so valuable by students of medicine during and after the Renaissance? Well, Andreas VESALIUS, De Humani Corporis Fabrica Libri Septum, 1543, translation on the fabric of the human body, is a set of books on human anatomy written by Andreas VESALIUS and published in 1543. It was a major advance in the history of anatomy of a long dominant work of Galen. Andreas VESALIUS, 1514-1564. VESALIUS was born in 1514 and studied medicine in Paris and Italy. He was allowed to perform human dissections, but couldn't look closely at the skeleton. He was so dedicated he stole the body of a criminal from the gallows to study human anatomy. He wrote books on his observations, including The Fabric of the Human Body in 1543. He became professor of surgery at Padua in Italy, where he performed more dissections. His illustrations were carefully labelled, and he used his powers of observation to point out some of Galen's mistakes. Galen thought that blood passed through the septum of the heart through little holes. VESALIUS proved there were no holes in the septum. Galen believed that the human jawbones were made of 2 pieces. VESALIUS proved it was 1. VESALIUS proved Galen could be wrong after nearly 1,400 years. You may like to pause the video, review the illustration, and answer the following 4 questions. So where is VESALIUS? VESALIUS is slap bang in the middle of the illustration, where the human cadaver is to the left, performing the dissection. Why do you think that a skeleton has been added to the illustration? Well, VESALIUS couldn't study the skeleton. There's a monkey in the left-hand corner. Why do you think it has been added? It has been added to disprove Galen. Who do you think the people in the audience are? The people in the audience are surgeons, lecturers, and medical students. Many surgical instruments during the Renaissance were similar to those used during the Middle Ages. Foreknife to cut the flesh and forceps to pull it apart. Saws were used to cut through bone, and hooks and hammers helped the surgeons to prise apart otherwise inaccessible areas. Unfortunately, the instruments were not designed to be easily cleaned, often having elaborately carved handles and fittings. This meant that flesh and blood remained on the instruments, thus increasing the risk of infection spreading from patient to patient. Instruments used in a dissection, like those opposite, may later have been used to operate on a patient in hospital. Obviously, Joseph Lister's carbolic acid spray machine hadn't been invented yet. What positive impact did Vesalius have on the development of understanding human anatomy? The Fabric of the Human Body offered a complete guide to human anatomy, and in doing so, challenged long-established views regarding the structure of the human body and the function of some of its main parts, disproving Galen's theory on anatomy. The publication allowed for further exploration of the body and therefore a means by which the study of anatomy could progress. Previous theories had rarely been challenged or adapted. The Renaissance encouraged exploration, discovery, and the challenging of older ideas. Vesalius also encouraged debate amongst autonomists, doctors, and students. He maintained that students of medicine should explore the body and use their own eyes to describe what they see. They should not rely entirely upon what they had been learned and told. This was the only way that medicine could progress. In review today's lesson on Andreas Vesalius, we can now describe the development of human dissection from Galen to Vesalius. We know why Vesalius was allowed to dissect human cadavers. We have made excellent progress as we have now analysed the impact of Vesalius on the fabric of the human body, 1543, on the development of understanding human anatomy. I really hope you've enjoyed today's lesson. If you have, please like, share, and definitely subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Thank you, and goodbye.